All right, let's dive into the story of a tennis legend, a man whose signature achievement is so unique, so incredibly difficult, that it's never been repeated. We're talking about a record that stands completely alone in the history of men's tennis. It all comes down to this one simple number: 2. And no, we're not talking about 2 tournament wins or being number 1 for 2 years. This number, well, this represents the absolute holy grail of the sport. So, right away, you have to ask yourself, in a sport that has given us giants like Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, a sport with a history that spans well over a century, how on earth is it possible that only one man has reached the summit not just once, but twice? Well, the man behind this incredible story is the Australian legend Rod Laver, and he had a nickname that fit him perfectly: the Rocket. Why? Because his explosive, powerful, left-handed game just completely overwhelmed anyone who stood on the other side of the net. Now, to really get what he did, we have to define the Grand Slam. And listen, this is not just winning 4 majors in a row. No. It's winning all 4 on grass, on clay, on hard court, all within the same calendar year, from January to September. It's the ultimate test of versatility and stamina. Laver's journey is really a tale of 2 completely different careers. It starts with this incredible victory that should have been the beginning of an era of dominance, but instead, it led to him being kicked out of the sport's biggest events. So picture this. It's 1962. A 24-year-old Rod Laver just tears through the tennis world. As an amateur, he wins all 4 majors in a single year. He completes his first Grand Slam and proves without a doubt that he is the best player on the planet. But here's where the story gets really weird. There's a 7-year gap before he does it again. For a champion who is at the absolute peak of his game, that makes no sense, right? Why would the best player in the world just stop playing in the majors? Well, the answer is kind of bonkers, and it all comes down to the bizarre rules of tennis back then. The sport was literally split in 2. If you wanted to actually make money playing tennis, you had to turn professional. But the second you did, you were banned from the Grand Slams. So Laver had to choose: chase glory or earn a living. He chose to earn a living. This timeline really puts it all into perspective. You see his first Grand Slam right here in 62. And then, look at this massive gap. He turns pro in 63, and bam, he's locked out of the majors for 5 straight years. 5 years, right in the middle of his prime. It wasn't until 1968, when the Open era began, that the doors were finally opened for him again. And the start of that Open era in 1968, well, it didn't just change the sport forever. It set the stage for one of the greatest comeback stories you'll ever hear. So after 5 years away from the biggest tournaments, people were wondering, does he still have it? He answered them, all right? In 1969, his first full year back, he just stormed through the season and won all 4 majors again. He completed his second calendar Grand Slam. And that is what makes this so untouchable. Look, winning 1 Grand Slam is a dream for any player. But to do it twice, 7 years apart, in 2 totally different eras of the sport, one as an amateur, one as a pro, that's a record that has never been matched in men's tennis, period. But here's the thing. As legendary as those 2 perfect seasons are, if you only focus on them, you're almost missing the bigger picture of just how dominant this guy was for his entire career. Over his whole career, he racked up a staggering 11 Grand Slam singles titles. But just think about this for a second. He won those 11 majors, even though he was banned from playing in 20 of them during his prime. 20! Can you even imagine how many more he might have won? It's just mind-boggling. And he wasn't just a one-man show either. The guy was a patriot. He was a phenomenal team player who led Australia to 4 Davis Cup titles, basically cementing their status as a tennis superpower at the time. So when you lay all the numbers out together like this, the picture becomes crystal clear. You've got the 11 majors, the 4 Davis Cups for his country, and of course, the big one, 2 calendar year Grand Slams. It's just an unbelievable resume of greatness. But to really understand Rod Laver's impact, you have to look beyond what's in the trophy cabinet. His influence is still felt all over the game today. Laver's real legacy was his revolutionary all-court game. At a time when players were often specialists, he could beat anyone, anywhere, on the fast grass of Wimbledon, the slow clay of Roland Garros, you name it. And on top of that, he did it all with a kind of sportsmanship and class that made him a hero to generations of players that followed, from Borg all the way to Federer. I mean, his contribution to the modern game is so fundamental that the main stadium for the Australian Open, one of the very tournaments he won, is named in his honor, the Rod Laver Arena. That's the ultimate sign of respect. And that really leaves us with one big final question. In today's game, an era that's so dominated by specialists who master one surface, is an achievement like Laver's even possible anymore? Or was the rocket truly a once-in-a-lifetime, never-to-be-seen-again phenomenon?